19309, and you'll receive $500 off on your
Can
purchase.
I just ask a question? Why, out of all the cars you could have picked to use as an example, why would you have picked the Trailblazer? Like, outside of the new one?
It was the first car.
I don't want shit to do with a Trailblazer.
It was the first vehicle that came to my head.
Plus, me and Trailblazers got beef because I rolled 5 times into a ditch in one.
If you want a Jeep Trailhawk.
Trailhawk? What the fuck is a Trailhawk?
It's a Cherokee, but it's like a different version of the Cherokee, the Trailhawk. Actually, a nice vehicle. I rented one time. But
it's a trim level.
What?
Trailhawk is a trim level on the Cherokee.
Oh, see?
Okay, that makes sense.
It was nice and comfy. Big guy friendly. So, yeah, use that reference code 19309 and get yourself a Trailhawk. So, while we're waiting on our guests to call in, why don't we go ahead and get started a little bit with the WWE?
For starters, I had thought on the way here that like will blow your fucking mind. So for anybody that watched Raw last night, can you imagine? So for everyone that keeps saying they want to see Shawn Michaels come back, I would like to see Shawn Michaels come back. But think about this before you say that. Imagine how fucked up it's going to be when you see Shawn Michaels and he's fucking bald.
With no dude, when that hat came
Dog,
on,
I was like, what the fuck? It's so weird.
I knew he cut the hair, but
no, I knew he cut it short. I saw him cut it. I saw pictures of him with just his hair cut short, not bald. And then to have a fucking bandana on with it, too, to catch his sweat, I was like, that makes it even worse.
It's funny because I literally watched that before we came in, and I was sitting there thinking, like, it just wouldn't be the same. The kip up wouldn't be the same without the hair flip. And man. But I still want to see the match, though. I think they're going to do a tag team match at, like, Crown of Jewel or something like that. Taker and Kane versus Michaels and Triple H or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But this weekend we have super. What happened? We good? Keep talking? Okay, I'll keep talking. This weekend we have the Super Showdown in Australia. It's going to be basically main evented by I don't even know what the main event of that card is. It's such a what?
Triple H and Taker.
That's the main event. Triple H and Taker. All right, well, I guess that's the main event. But it's such a weird card, and me and Kyle Campbell talked about this last week about how WWE has added these shows kind of like almost last minute, and they're promoting like 3 shows at a time. So it kind of feels like this Super Show is kind of almost rushed a little bit.
And let's talk about how it starts at 5 in the fucking morning.
Yeah, that too, that too. The good thing is,
it's going to be 6 hours long though. I'll bet money on it.
Like that's going to be a long day.
Holy shit! You're not kidding. Holy shit!
We have
beeping.
You have a phone call.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's going on? So now that the cat's out of the bag, for any of you that weren't paying attention, on the line with us we got Matt Frendo from Lights Out Championship. How you doing, brother man?
Good. How are you doing?
What's up, Matt?
Not too bad. We were just talking some shit about that WWE Super Showdown that they're doing in Australia this weekend.
Oh, is that going on this weekend?
Yeah, we were talking about how I definitely won't be watching it live because I'm not getting up at 5 in the morning to watch fucking wrestling.
You're not that dedicated, sir.
Matter of fact, I got to work Saturday anyway. I'll be at work.
Yeah, that's a rough time to be up to watch some wrestling.
Well, think about this. Let's say you do watch that, right? So you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the Super Showdown. You're going to probably watch the Michigan and the Michigan State game.
That's this Saturday?
Yeah, every Saturday.
Yeah.
And then,
okay,
wait.
Never mind. I thought you meant they were playing each other. I was like,
no.
Already?
No, and then after that, you got to watch about, 6 hours of UFC because you got Conor versus Khabib this weekend too? Man, that's a long day, man. But
that's a great day. That's a great day for most people, that's for sure.
Definitely. Get your coffee ready. But, Matt, welcome back to the show. You were here last time on the big debate that me and Kyle had about John Jones. Once again, thank you for joining us on that show, man. Thank you for saying that I was right. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
But, Matt, why don't you tell us what you have going on, man?
Well, I have my first show with my new company on October 13th. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday. We've got a great night of fights set up. looking like we've got, I believe we've got 16 fights currently.
Wow.
So it's going to be a long night for sure. But we've got some really good fights set up on both the pro and amateur side of the card. And it's something I've been working really hard on, and I'm really looking forward to getting this new company going.
So before we get into the card and the fights that people can expect, no need to go into super detail or anything like that, but everybody knows KOP's not around anymore. Tell us a little bit about what got you into wanting to have your own company away from all that stuff.
Well, I love the business, regardless of what the owner of KOP did to kind of ruin the company. And, it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And it came down to, I had to kind of decide if I wanted to continue doing this. And obviously it's something I wanted to continue doing. And when I had the support from the fighters and the state commission and, sponsors, things like that, it made the decision to start my own company a lot easier than I thought it would be. It's definitely been challenging, but it's definitely been worth it so far. I've had a lot of good people jump on board to kind of support what I'm doing, and it's definitely made it a lot easier than I thought it would be to get going. So,
heading into your first fight, what do you think is going to set Lights Out, apart from all the other promotions in Michigan?
Well, I'm doing a lot of things that most companies don't. For example, we have a knockout bonus. I've seen a couple companies throw a couple $100 at people if, certain fights get a knockout bonus type thing. But, for the pro side of the card, for example, I'm doing a $2,500 knockout of the night bonus.
Wow. Nice.
So that's a pretty good chunk of money. Obviously at this stage of promotion, there's not a ton of money being thrown around. So I'm giving somebody an opportunity to probably make more off of a bonus than they're making on their actual fight purse. So, I'm trying to set the bar with stuff like that. I'm trying to do performance of the night bonuses and knockout of the night bonuses and, just things like that not really being done around here, and that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg with that. I just had something fall through today that we've been working really hard on that I don't want to comment on quite yet, but I was working on something that was going to put the whole Midwest on notice, and it kind of fell through for this show, but we did get it locked in for our second show. So there's a couple things I'll be able to comment on more by showtime in a couple weeks. So, but I'm working really hard on doing some things that most promotions either can't do or won't do. So.
I thought one of the things I saw leading up to this fight that was so cool is that you guys have got your own fight kits. I think that's pretty badass.
Yeah, the fight kits, they're really awesome. They've come together pretty nice. And, it's something like, obviously the UFC, they force their fighters to wear them, and it screws them over with sponsors. Right. I'm obviously not forcing anybody to wear this. The fighters get theirs free regardless. So it's up to them really, but it's a thing where that's another one of those areas where I had a really good sponsor jump on board, and I told them what I wanted to do, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. No questions asked. So, we've had, like I said, I've had some really good support, and, good sponsors and good support is what makes something like that possible. So, and that kind of sets us apart from every other promotion.
Well, Matt, you were talking about how you decided to start your own promotion, and you had a lot of support. You had sponsors come in to help you out with this. And I don't want you to kind of hurt yourself patting yourself on the back, but how good of a job and how good of a reputation do you have to have in this business for people to jump on and help you out with this to start up a whole new company that doesn't have a reputation?
Oh, it's paramount to your success as a company to have the trust and support of the fighters. he who has the fighters has the show, and that's always been how it goes. If you don't have the support of the gyms in Michigan, the fighters in Michigan, you don't have a show. I mean, that's how it goes. So, you know, I had, as I was saying earlier, I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to do when the whole thing happened with KOP. And, you know, I had guys like Cody Stamen and Mo Williams and Ken Cross and Reese Brink and a lot of the big names in Michigan said, dude, don't let that ruin your dream. You know, don't let that take away from what you want to do. You know, if you want to do it, then you should 100% do it. And, you know, having support like that is what makes it so easy to continue doing this. So if you don't have the fighters behind you, then you're wasting your time, because you won't be able to be successful in this business. So, you know, I got to give a shout out to all the guys that encouraged me to continue doing this, because I wouldn't be doing it without them.
Hi, Matt. This is Kyle, the other Kyle.
That didn't sound awkward.
Shut up. What have you experienced so far that's like kind of been surprising to you of doing this kind of like not on your own, but like starting this up? What are some of the things that you didn't actually, you know, think about that may have actually, you know, have come up so far?
Well, the licensing was a little bit different than I was anticipating. Obviously, everything got taken care of because I wouldn't be able to do a show without it. But I just wasn't used to handling the licensing part of it. I wasn't used to, you know, the event applications are a lot different. You have to actually know names and companies of the EMS, getting a security bond, doing stuff like that. It's just those are parts of the promotion that I never dealt with. That wasn't my area when I was working with KOP. So there were some things that took a little bit of time getting used to, but it wasn't too bad. It just was a little bit different as well.
Now, talking about the card itself, I've seen a lot of the matchups that you've already put together. You know, why don't you tell some of our listeners,
or all the listeners,
all the listeners, all the listeners,
Everybody.
fuck you for correcting me. Anyway,
Such a nice guy.
you know, fuck you guys, all right? But anyway,
Don't know.
constructive criticism. Man. Don't
Anyways,
need the last shout.
Tough
tell
love.
the listeners what kind of what are the fights that you're most looking forward to on the card, and which ones are, you know, building the most hype going into the card.
Yeah, well, so just kind of to start it off too, my card was originally going to be in Holland. So my show, when I set the date, I had it at the Holland Civic Center, and you know, we had some disagreements with the venue. They wouldn't print me tickets, and the ticket request that I had already exceeded the capacity there anyways. So it kind of threw me for a loop because I built the card around Holland fighters with the show being in their hometowns.
Right.
And so that kind of sent me back a little bit because when we moved to Grand Rapids, most of these guys fought for us there anyway, so it's not anything, you know, too crazy. But you know, it took away from their excitement a little bit because, you know, a lot of those guys wanted to fight in their hometown. So, you know, for example, my main event, heavyweight matchup between Ruben Esparza and Ray Lopez. It's going to be a great fight. I have no doubt about it. It would have been more hyped up had it been in both their hometowns. That's a rivalry matchup. These guys have had really bad blood for over 10 years, and that's a fight that really should have went down in Holland. But, you know, it's a situation that was kind of out of our hands.
Speaking of that fight, man, not to cut you off by any means, but with Ray Lopez, man, holy shit. How long is that motherfucker going to last? Like, he was Big Don's last MMA fight, and that was in 2006. And the guy still has a chin from hell. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know how this guy isn't dead yet. Every fight I've ever seen of his, like, he gets the fuck beat out of him, and he ends up giving it back. So I don't...
Yeah. Ray's a super tough guy. He doesn't get knocked out. He rarely, if he gets finished, it's like a submission or like a ground and pound. Just kind of got stuck in a position he couldn't get out. he's not a guy that you're gonna knock out or you're really gonna pull off a crazy finish with. And in this fight, I really think we're gonna see some pretty crazy stuff. Like I said, these guys have hated each other for 12 years. And it's a
Hot
situation
damn, that's a
where
fight I gotta see.
yeah, it's a crazy story. I'm not going to get into it because that's not really my business, but it's a hometown beef type of a thing. And, that be my main event. People can look at the records and say, oh, maybe these guys should be the main event. But if you knew the backstory, it's a no brainer that's got to be the main event. So, I'm very excited for that fight just because of knowing the story of why these guys hate each other so much. And then you got in my co-main event, Eric Lozano versus Marcus Maulding. And that's another fight where you might look at the records and say, oh, I don't know, maybe that's not the main event type thing. But if you've ever watched either of these guys fight, you know that both of those guys, they're not there to wrestle. Those guys are and it's crazy because they've talked in person since this. I was there in person when they decided to talk, and they decided that they're going to sit there in the middle. They're not going to move. They're going to throw hands until someone falls.
Wow.
So something like those two fights right there alone are entertaining fights.
Well, for sure with that,
and then,
the co-main event, man, with Marcus. It's the question of that fight for me, man, because Marcus is a guy I've trained with in the past. That I feel like the question of that fight is going to be how focused Marcus is coming into it. Because when Marcus fights, how Marcus can fights well, but then a lot of times he's lost. He's just made a stupid mistake here, stupid mistake here. So against Lozano, that's going to be that's another good fight to be looking at.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, both those guys are so entertaining that. That fight alone is worth going to see. And then you got to look too at these undercard fights. You've got what I personally think is going to be the fight of the night is Mike Gilmore versus Randy Patino. Both of those guys are very well rounded, very good stand-up fighters. They can go to the ground if they need to, but those are guys that like to kind of put on a show, and I think that's probably the fight of the night. And then you're not even getting into the fact that we've got Ken Cross versus Aaron Smith, and we've got Reese Brink versus Antoine Blassingame. Both those fights there, too, are big lightweight matchups. The winners or losers of those fights could be setting up some pretty big potential matchups going forward to the next show. So there's really a lot of stake here in the pro level. And the amateur level. We've got a really good mix of some newer talent, some people that haven't been around very long, some guys that are pretty close to going pro, some guys that have kind of started their careers off hot, and these are big fights to see if the hype is real. And I was able to put together some really good female fights as well. And I just think the whole card, the card as a whole, is a really good mixture of every type of fighter. Guys that are entertaining, guys that are trying to take this next level. We've got the good female fights. It's got everything you look for in a fight card.
With you going back to Deltaplex, does that give any added comfort, being that the Deltaplex was where KOP ran a lot and their familiarity with the building or anything?
Yeah, 100%. It makes it easy. I'm very familiar with them. I know what I am able to do, what I'm not able to do. I just know the setup, the people that work there, the people that own it. It's a lot more comfortable. I would have been fine doing it at the Civic Center. It's just I couldn't get over the fact that they wouldn't print me off tickets. Nobody operates like that in Michigan. Fighters like to sell tickets,
Right.
And they didn't want to give me the tickets. So,
but you mean like give them to you up front, or they were saying you needed too many tickets?
They wanted everybody to sell their tickets online.
So they physically didn't want to sell tickets?
They wanted everybody to have their own code, and they wouldn't print off physical tickets to have in hand for fighters to sell.
That's stupid.
Oh, they wanted like the cell phone code thing? to get in?
Yeah. Each guy would have their code. So realistically, you could still track your sales and get credit for it.
Right.
But guys don't do it like that. That's not how it works here. So, fighters feel more comfortable when they have control of what they're selling and they know what their cut is. And some guys spend their cut as soon as they get, it's just some guys don't do it like that. And for the success of my show, I need all the fighters to be completely comfortable with how I'm operating, and most of those guys weren't. So, that's how it was. So
then, like, if they're out somewhere, they can hand the tickets out. It's a lot easier for them to do marketing for it. That's odd that they wouldn't want to print tickets like that. That's really shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to like bad talk or anything like that, but I just can't operate like that, and I don't think any company can. To be honest, I don't think any company in Michigan could go to the Civic Center and put on a successful show with that type of business model that they make you follow. So I don't know. Like I said, it sucks because like I said, I have a lot of guys from Holland on the card. I think I've got, eight or nine fighters are from Holland. So like I said, I kind of built the whole card around Holland, but again, all these people have fought for me before at the Deltaplex, so it's not like a crazy huge difference for them. It just would have been nice for those guys to have been able to fight in their hometown finally.
Well, you said the card is going to be at the Deltaplex. Why don't you go ahead and give everybody the details on the card? You said it's going to be at the Deltaplex, what time, and where they can get tickets and how much they are.
Yep, so it's at the Deltaplex in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The show starts at 7. The doors open at 6. It is next Saturday, not this coming, but next Saturday, October 13th. Tickets start at $35. We've got them for sale online. If you just go to etix.com and search in Lights Out Championship, it'll pop up. Also, every fighter on the card has tickets, so you can always get them from your favorite fighter, kind of help them. All fighters make ticket sale commission, so buying from a fighter obviously helps them out as well, and helps us out too because it makes them continue fighting when they get a little kickback as well. So it's going to be a great night. Like I said, currently we have 16 fights. It's been weird. I kind of got away from doing this, but I always would schedule this many fights, and with it in the back of my mind that I always lose 2 or 3 fights,
right?
Whether it be to injury or whatever the case is, and not one single fight has dropped. So
well, that was
weird, which I'm happy with. I don't want anybody getting hurt or anything like that.
Right.
I rarely put together a card 8 weeks before an event and all of them stay intact, and that's exactly what's happened this time. So my ideal number for the event was 12 or 13 fights.
Right.
And it looks like we're just going to have to start on time because we've got 16 of them.
So going Mayweather styles, and there's going to be a main event starting at 1 a.m. probably.
I really hope not. I'm not going to rush. I'm not going to rush them, but I am going to limit there's probably going to be 1 intermission, maybe 2. But we're going to get through them pretty quickly, I think.
I was going to ask you about that because I was going to say you and I have both been to plenty of Michigan MMA shows, and I don't think I've ever been to one that wasn't Bellator or UFC that started on time.
Oh, I've never been to one. There's never been a show that I've seen that started on time. Actually, I lied. I think Big John started pretty much right on time. I went to one of his before. He was the only person I've ever seen pretty much start right on time. So I got to give him props for that.
So when you guys get started, I definitely I meant to message you about it the other day, but I think us at Knockouts and 3 Counts got to come down to one of those, man, and hit one of your guys' shows real soon.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I've got the schedule all the way until December of 2019. I was able to sign an exclusive contract with the Deltaplex.
Cool.
So I've got plenty of shows. So yeah, you guys definitely have to get down to one and check it out in person.
Hell yeah, man.
Definitely. One thing that you brought up, you were talking about there's going to be female fights on this card, and I don't know. For me, that's something I've always been interested in. Like, what are the logistics of booking a women's fight, or is it pretty much the same as the guys, or is it any like special arrangements that you have to set up for having a women's fight on your card?
It's much easier to book a guy's fight, almost just for the fact that there's it's like a 3-to-1 ratio of male fighters to female fighters in Michigan, probably even higher.
Right.
There just isn't a ton of them, but it seems like the female division's making more of a comeback. There's many, many more females that are active now than were active even 6 months ago. So it's definitely been getting a little bit easier, which is awesome because women's MMA is I don't know if it's necessarily taking over, but I would think the average fan would like to see that just as much as a male fight, and most of them would probably say they'd rather see that than a male fight. So it's been awesome to be able to put some together. I actually had 4 originally scheduled.
Wow.
And we only have 2 of them now, but at one point we did have 4 female fights on the card. And like I said, it's awesome. I know a couple promotions in Michigan have been keeping at least a couple, 2 or 3. I know Big John I think Big John, this show had like 4 or 5. So it's cool. I think people enjoy seeing it a lot, and I'm trying to help kind of get this revolution going.
I don't know if you would agree from the promoter side of it, but from a fan's point of view, man, it just, to me, female fights always end up a lot of times being more exciting because it just seems like they get in there and fucking scrap, dude. Like, not that I'm somebody that wants to watch somebody rock and sock them every fight, but I mean, to watch people actually get in a fight and, actually go after it is refreshing to see.
Yeah, and they do. The thing is I don't even know what the proper word is for it, but they're not super. Yeah, well, they're not super concerned with being very technical, and I don't. It's not that they're sloppy, but they just go in there and they look to finish fight. You'll see a lot of guys fight, and they'll kind of Mayweather you. They'll hit you a couple of times and they'll run. They're very strategic, and they don't put themselves in different situations. And female fighters go out there and they're looking for a finish. And I think that's why a lot of people like them watching those fights so much more than male fights now, honestly, is just because they're kind of more entertaining. I would put money on a lot of fans would rather see that now. And honestly, too, I still think a lot of fans, they don't think it's, I don't know if the word is normal or if it's what the word is, but people still haven't wrapped their head around the fact that there's badass women fighters. So it's almost like a crazed thing when they see it. They're not used to it, and it's like you just can't stop watching. Once you see a badass female like that, it's I don't know. It's something that I definitely want to keep kind of showing off on my cards because I hear it every time. I would do shows with no female fights, and you would get people disappointed that there is many on the cards. So definitely going to look to continue stacking the card with some female fights.
We got a question from Facebook from Mr. Tim O'Leary. He wants me to ask you about the new cage.
Yeah, so I was able to buy a pretty sweet cage. It's a circle cage, so that's pretty awesome. It's not very common around here. I actually go to pick it up tomorrow. That's another one of the situations where I had a really good sponsor jump on board to help out. The Deltaplex had a cage that I was able to use. They offered it to me, and I really just wanted to kind of own my own with the company. So I was able to buy a 24-foot cage. So it's a nice size. It's a circle cage, which isn't very rare. It is very rare around here.
That's nice to see because they'll actually have room to move.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's for sure. I get to pick it up tomorrow. So it's brand new, and it's going to be awesome. It's perfect. It's got the nice cloth canvas too, so it's close to the UFC style as you can get.
That's something I actually always wondered about. Like, what goes into the decision of the circle cage, the octagon, the ring with the ropes? What goes into the decision of what you're going to use for your events?
Well, as far as what goes into it, I just kind of wanted to do something different. I wanted to, everybody's got the same type of cage, and I just kind of wanted to have something completely different from everybody. So I don't think that there's a promotion. I guess I don't really know because I haven't gone to all these shows. I don't know like what Donofrio or Ron DeLeon or those guys use. I just don't know if many of them use circle cages. But I didn't think it was that common. So I wanted to have a circle cage to kind of differentiate myself from everybody else. So that's about all I thought about when I went to get that.
I know you said you have 16 fights as of right now. Is there anybody from the local scene that you don't have that you want, or somebody you do want to bring in possibly in the future?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like I said, with me putting the show on originally in Holland, I didn't have fighters like Brett Martin and Jamal Hill. And those guys in Grand Rapids obviously are two of the bigger names throughout Michigan as a whole. But just with me putting so many Holland guys on the card, I didn't have many opportunities for matchups for either of them. Those guys 100% will be on my next show as long as their schedules allow it. Somebody like Brandon Emmons. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple people, but yeah, there's some guys, like I said, with me originally having the show in Holland. I didn't have room for everybody that I wanted to put on.
All right, well, why don't you go ahead and throw out the information one more time about the fight, and then we'll jump into a little bit of the UFC after that.
Yeah, so again, the show is not this Saturday, but next Saturday, October 13th at the Deltaplex in Grand Rapids. I got 16 fights. Doors open at 6. Fights start at 7. One thing I can't believe I forgot to mention, I am bringing in Herb Dean to be one of the officials for the night.
Ooh.
So he will be there all night. Really cool guy. One of the nicest guys I've ever met, to be honest with you. We had him at one of our shows in the past, and he's super, super professional, formal. Every time you talk to him, he says, "Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." He's just the nicest guy.
I've actually had a chance to meet Herbie. He is really a good
dude. He took a lot of time with the fans, signed autographs, took pictures. We've had superstars, UFC stars and stuff like that in the past come, and some of them are not super friendly. They don't want to have their people in their face and stuff like that. And
right.
He was not like that at all. He welcomed anybody that wanted a picture or an autograph or whatever, and just a really nice guy.
Yeah, I met Herb in Sacramento a couple years ago, and had a couple. Thank you. Had a drink with him at the bar, man. He was so friendly that I forgot to ask him for a picture. He was just sitting around hanging out, just having a good time.
Oh yeah, just a great guy. And we've had, like I said, we've had guys. We had Anthony Rumble come in the past. That guy was a diva. He was not. He wasn't that nice. He charged for somebody wanted to autograph or a picture. He charged, and I get it.
Really?
Guys want to make their money. That's cool. Whatever. But there was guys like that. They weren't that friendly. They didn't want a ton of interaction and stuff like that. And that's why I'm happy we got her, because he's the complete opposite. He welcomes fan interaction, and that's awesome.
All right. Well, guys, you want to talk about this UFC card coming up this weekend?
Okay.
Yeah,
for sure.
We might as well start off with our guest. You want to start from the main event, or you got any other fights you want to hit first?
Well, first of all, besides the main event, is there any fights on this card that you guys are looking forward to?
No.
Kyle's not going to watch anyways.
Would you stop kicking me?
I'm interested
to
in
move
the,
your feet. I'm stationary, bitch.
That fight. To be honest, I can't remember. At my wedding on Saturday, I was telling one of my buddies. He was asking what I thought about some of the fights, and I told him straight up, I am not sold that Khabib's going to show up.
Really?
I think
you still think he's going to?
I think he's going to have some type of a weight cut issue or something. I don't know what the case is going to be, but
I'd love to see.
I'm not
Instagram
sold that
after
this
that.
fight's going to happen. And what I see happening is them sliding Tony Ferguson in and fighting Conor.
Right.
And to be 100% honest, I think Ferguson has a better chance of beating Conor than Khabib does.
Really?
Whoa.
Wow.
Hot take.
Yeah.
I
That's what I think. I think being 100% honest, I think Ferguson would beat Khabib if that fight could ever happen. I just think he's so well-rounded. He's so unpredictable. I think he and Conor would be a much more entertaining fight, and I honestly think he could upset Conor. And that hurts me to say because I'm a huge Conor guy.
Right.
I, however, did lose a little bit of love for Conor over this disgusting Proper 12 drink that he put out. This shit is trash.
I was about to ask you that.
Whoa. What is this?
He came out with his own whiskey. Where you been?
It's his own whiskey. It's called Proper 12. It is disgusting. I mean, I don't know if he just hasn't tweaked it yet or what, but he's got some explaining to do because this shit sucks. I don't know. I've talked to some people that I should say this. If you're a whiskey drinker that likes to sip on whiskey, you'll try this once and you'll never try it again.
Wow.
If you're somebody that likes to mix drinks, it mixed with Coke great. It was a good mixture, like a whiskey and Coke. That was fine. I could drink that.
It's Coca-Cola, not cane.
Yeah, I tried to drink it straight, and I almost threw up. It's not good. So he's got to work on that.
What the fook?
It didn't turn out very well for him.
Man, but I want to go back to this hot Tony Ferguson take, man. So basically, you're predicting that that's going to be the fight, Ferguson versus Conor.
I think that is what's going to be the main event Saturday. I think on like Thursday or Friday you're going to see MMA Imports with an article about Khabib being 26 pounds overweight still or something like that. He's not going to make weight, and Ferguson's going to step in. They're going to pay Pettis his show money and tell him go sit in the corner, and Ferguson's going to step in, and I think Ferguson's going to upset him. Wow.
Hot take.
I hope not. I would honestly rather see the Khabib fight. I mean, it's been hyped up for so long. That's the fight I want to see.
Right.
I feel like something has to happen, and it hasn't happened yet. So I don't know. I'm bracing myself for the worst, but hoping for the best, kind of thing.
So what does that say about Khabib? Where like no one really ever expects him to make weight or to show up.
That guy's
fights,
missed weight or gotten sick a lot of times in between fights, and this is coming from somebody that will be the first to admit Khabib's a fucking killer. But dude, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. There's no denying it. I mean, he's had it happen how many times now? I can't even count.
Yeah, the dude's a killer. I mean, you can't deny it. It's just I'm just not sold that he's going to make weight. I feel like I don't know. I'm not sold on it yet, but I'm hoping.
So I guess the question is, does anybody think Conor walks away with the belt Saturday night?
I think the only way Conor keeps the belt is if he can keep it on his feet. Because honestly, if Khabib puts him on the ground, Khabib is gonna wrestle fuck the shit out of him.
Wait.
Oh yeah,
that's my new favorite word, wrestle fuck. There we go.
How you've watched MMA and been to how many UFCs and you haven't heard the term wrestle fuck?
I have never heard Mike Goldberg
separately, but
Joe Rogan say
together.
wrestle fuck. I've never heard him say that on the broadcast.
There's probably a reason for that. I'm talking about being at fights. You didn't hear it.
Yeah, I think if it goes to the ground, I think Conor will end up pregnant.
See?
He's gonna be down there all night, and yeah, I don't know. I hope that here's what I think. If Khabib and Conor fight, I think Conor knocks him out within 2 rounds, and I think if Ferguson steps in with Conor, I think Ferguson submits him somewhere in the 3rd or 4th round.
Wow.
I could definitely see that happening because Conor's jiu-jitsu has been proven not to be very good. And he can post all the videos he wants of training with Dylan Donis, dude. But, I mean, Tony Ferguson has finished some top-level motherfuckers in the UFC with his jiu-jitsu. So. Yeah.
Ferguson's a whole different type of animal when it comes to that. I think I see some similarities, honestly. He's just super predictable. Or super unpredictable, and that's what makes Tony so tough. you never know what that guy's going to do. And honestly, it's weird because Conor's still unpredictable because he's got those weird angles and those weird shots, but obviously, he's got so much power in his left hand. I don't know. I'm not sold on Khabib showing up yet, but I really hope he does because that's obviously the fight everybody wants to see.
I was legitimately hurt when him and Ferguson didn't fight, dude, because
which time?
The last one was the worst one because the first one I was like, okay, he didn't make weight and he got hurt and whatever. And then when it didn't happen the second time, I'm like, son of a bitch. Really, dude? Like, I wanted to see this after all this shit talking. I wanted to see it because Tony Ferguson was doing a damn good job of selling the fuck out of that fight. We were talking about wrestling earlier. Tony Ferguson could fit in, no fucking problem.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was hurt the first, second, and third time that fight fell through. It's just, and it's funny, they've asked Dana if he'll ever make that fight again. He said, fuck no, don't even ask me. But if Khabib finds a way to win against Conor and Ferguson wins, I don't know how you don't try and set it up. I mean, that's the next fight.
I want to know how the fuck Ferguson isn't right around number one contender anyway. Like,
he pretty much is. He got hurt and kind of, he was out for, I think, about a year. I don't know exactly how long it's been since he fought last, but.
And then Conor came back.
Yeah. Yeah. Once Conor comes back, he's the number one contender regardless. So.
Well, other than the main event, I'm looking at this card. They actually have some pretty good fights on here, man. One that I'm very interested in is the Black Beast, Derek Lewis versus Alexander Volkov. I'm sorry, Volkov. You guys any thoughts on that one or any other fights on this card?
Derek Lewis is going to kill him.
Yeah. I think that's the fight Derek Lewis wins. I am pretty interested in Felice Herrig versus Michelle Waterson.
Me too.
I think that'll be a pretty good fight.
That's going to be a badass fight.
I think I'm really upset. I seen Sean O'Malley got popped by USADA.
For weed, let me bet.
I don't know what it was.
I will bet you $100 it's weed.
Something different.
Low key,
yeah,
dude, I'm excited about that Ferguson fight too, though.
Yeah,
I think Ferguson Pettis with their jiu-jitsu, man, can either be. It's going to force them to strike. I think they're going to beat the shit out of each other.
Right. Yeah. No, I could see it. It should be a fun fight. Pettis he's not a slouch. I just don't think he's not really in it anymore. He's just kind of there for a paycheck, I think. So.
I mean, he's not the Anthony Pettis of old, that's for sure.
Right. And then one last fight I wanted to bring up was Ovince St. Preux versus Dominic Reyes. Do we get a St. Preux choke?
Oh God. Do you even know how to do a Von Flue choke? Or how the fuck that
but I know it's very, very hard to do, and he's done it like 3-4 times.
Let me tell you, they fucking suck. I've had them done to me because I like guillotines.
Obviously, because he keeps winning with it.
That's the crazy part about it. A Von Flue choke is a choke for anyone that trains jiu-jitsu will tell you. That is not a choke that you should ever get fucking caught in, and if you do, it's only because you got caught. But for that motherfucker to catch it that many times,
he's done it 3-4 times.
It's like crazy to me.
See, and that's my question about it. It's like from what everybody has told me, it's like basic jiu-jitsu. Like you don't get caught up in that, but he keeps doing it. So is it that he's really
it's
just that?
People get tired and they hold on to guillotines too long. That's what happens. You're not supposed to hold on to a guillotine once a guy's in side control.
But what is it about this guy that it keeps happening, though? That's the question.
I have no answer.
Okay. Frando, you got an answer for that one?
I have no answer for that.
Matt can tell you.
It's very weird how many times that guy pulled that off. That's for sure.
It's one thing for it to happen once or twice, or and for it to be like spaced out, but for him to have done that many times.
Two fights in a row, didn't he?
Yeah.
Then I want to say it's like 4 times he's done it. 3 for sure, but I want to say it was a 4th one in there. I don't know.
How easy is it to get caught in it, though?
Easy if you hold on to a guillotine, but you shouldn't hold on to it from side control. Because think about it. If you're holding on to my head, you can't fucking punch me or anything. And you can't do anything to get up.
it's like it's just being lazy, pretty much.
Pretty much. That's literally what it is. Guys will hold on to your
Pretty much
head
being lazy.
thinking that that's going to keep you from being able to really do anything. But if you've got your arm still locked around my neck and I'm in side control, dude, all I got to do is put knee on belly or something and you can mount. Or if you hold on long enough, you can get caught in a Von Flu.
St. Prue choke now.
Okay, I guess it's St. Prue choke.
But
Yeah.
let's go ahead and jump over back to the Super Showdown. We didn't really get to jump into that. Other than Triple H and Undertaker, you guys, is there any any wrestling match that you're looking forward to on the Super Showdown down in Australia?
Matt, have you caught up with any of the wrestling semi-recent, since I know you are a fan to some degree?
Yeah, I haven't at all, to be honest. Haven't been able to watch it.
Well, getting married will do that.
Oh, congratulations, by the way, man.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, it's the whole wedding thing pretty much ruins all the plans you have. So
Don't let her hear that.
as my now wife sits here with the
I was about to say, she's probably sitting there, dog.
Yeah, she doesn't find me as funny as I find myself.
They never do.
Wait, that must have been a very fun month, man, planning a fight and a wedding at the same time, man.
Yeah, probably wasn't the smartest idea to do a show 2 weeks after my wedding. So definitely could have maybe spaced that out a little bit more, planned it a little bit better. But
Well, you only make that mistake once, man.
Unless you're
exactly. Exactly. That will only be made once. I can promise you that.
Well, since we were talking about wrestling, man, you're a good person to ask this question, too. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Matt Riddle.
Ooh, surprise! I was getting ready to get the bell off of Ronda Rousey.
Nope.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't know who Matt Riddle is.
You don't remember from the UFC?
Oh, I got you now. I got you. Yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to check out anything he's done since he went to wrestling?
Not really.
Highly fucking suggest it.
I've seen some like clips and stuff, but I haven't really seen much of it, to be honest.
He's been fucking killing it for like the last few years. He was actually going to come on the show with us, but we had him booked. And then again, this is, Edge and Christian are famous for saying this on their show, but I'm starting to think that we kind of have that touch too. We've had it happen to us 4 times now. We had Shayna Baszler. She got signed to WWE. We had Matt Riddle. He got signed to WWE. I mean, I'm just saying.
Wait, what were the other two?
What were the other two?
We had, we had Tony Atlas that fell through, but it was different.
Oh.
I'm just saying, as far as people getting signed, we've had it happen a couple times with MMA guys.
So if you want to get signed by NXT, come on, knockouts and 3 counts.
counts.
But actually come on the show, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Promote the shit, then go to WWE.
Right, there you go.
What about Shawn Michaels being bald? Did anybody pay attention to that?
We already touched that.
Jesus
Holy
Christ.
shit.
Like when that hat came off, I'm like, wait a second, let me rewind that
Dude,
shit. Like,
I
I know he cut his hair, but did he dye it? No, he's bald.
Dude, I was
shit.
gonna post something in the group about that. Like, I can't imagine what this is gonna be like when he inevitably wrestles, if it happens, or even just Saturday at Super Showdown. Like, I knew he cut the hair. Now I saw when he cut it, and that didn't bother me. But seeing him full on bald, dude, I couldn't do it. It was fucked up. And then the fact that he had a bandana on under the hat made it even worse.
That's my fucking childhood. Just went out the window now. Shawn Michaels is bald. What is life?
But we get the Geritol special. We get Triple H versus Undertaker with Kane and Shawn Michaels in their respective corners. Man, it's gonna be interesting.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it because I'm sure everybody can kind of see what's happening here. They're going to have some type of a tag team match at some point, and I feel like Shawn Michaels, he was the guy that, the retirement match. He's been the only guy that's ever stuck true to never wrestling again. And I don't, as much as I loved him, I don't want to see it. I want to see him stay true to. Yeah. I want to see him stay true to staying retired, and I know that this is just leading
This is
to
just
some
the
type of
start
a
of
tag
it.
team match or something, and I don't want to see that.
Yeah, the rumors are because they're doing another show in Saudi Arabia. So the Prince of Saudi Arabia, he's a huge '90s WWF fan. He even actually, did you guys hear that he actually
You wanted Yokozuna?
Yokozuna and
Ultimate Warrior.
and Ultimate Warrior to be in the show, and they're like,
How can you be that out of touch that you don't know that they've both been
I would
dead?
have no, I would
It's
have
Saudi Arabia, man.
I would have
They haven't
loved
had a lot of.
to be in the room. Like, yes, and I went Ultimate Warrior.
He's dead.
He died. Oh, okay, Yokozuna. Yeah, he died like 10 years
How about
ago.
Roddy Piper? No,
Why
he
are you
died.
making him sound Chinese though? If we're talking about Saudi Arabia,
I don't know it. I don't know the accent, damn it. Maybe let's watch a video of Lindsay Lohan. I'll get the accent there.
I just want to point out the thoughts of Kyle Campbell. Those
Yes.
Kyle Campbell, not to say those are knockouts of the counts or podcast Detroit.
Fuck all y'all. But anyway, I don't want to see him back, man. And he's my all-time favorite wrestler. I don't want to see him back. I like you said.
Yokozuna's your all-time favorite wrestler?
Oh God, no. That's a racial stereotype. But no, I
A
just
Samoan Japanese guy.
when I found that out, I was really
Found out when I looked at him like, man, that Japanese dude is really tan. Oh man! All right, real quick, any matches on this card that you guys are really looking forward to?
AJ and Joe.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that one's kind of been better than the whole Shinsuke and him thing.
Look,
So
dude, I
it's-
can watch
okay.
AJ and Joe. I don't give a fuck how old they are. Matt, I'm sure you've watched AJ versus Joe at some point.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting a little bored with that.
AJ and
What
Joe
I-
already?
You
I
probably
like that
here's
better,
what-
way better than Shinsuke.
you probably watched a lot of TNA, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. Their better stuff.
Here's what I really want to see. I want to see them stop fucking around. I want to see them. I hate the brand split. They should just have two separate shows or two shows a week if that's what they want to do, but use the whole roster because I really want to see Finn Balor and AJ. I want to see Finn Balor and Daniel Bryan.
Oh God, yeah.
I want to see Daniel Bryan do some cool shit before somehow he fucks himself up again.
Yeah.
Because I think he's so talented. I think he's one of the more entertaining guys to watch. I don't know. I just like I watch it every once in a while, and I don't know. I get bored of it. I don't know what it is. To be honest, I know it sounds crazy because this goes against all true wrestling fans. I fucking miss John Cena.
You know, he's
I
kind
miss-
of one of those
I miss
guys
John
to where.
Cena.
He's going to be on there, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yep,
he's on the
it's
show,
him
but like
and-
just
it's him and Lashley.
I get what he's saying.
versus,
Like for me as an NBA fan, when I start seeing Kobe and Tim Duncan and Paul Pierce and all them go, I'm like, damn, it's not the same anymore. It's not like good anymore. Like at least Cena, hate him or love him and hate him.
dude, the guy's put in some serious ass work.
He
Period.
he entertained you no matter what. Whether he was Super Cena or Big Match John, he entertained you. Not having that, it does kind of take it takes a little bit away.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. I hated him when he was on TV every week. I hated him because I knew that he was gonna have the belt. They were gonna put the belt on him, or they were gonna do a fucking 7-on-1, and Cena was gonna somehow win. It's like I hated it, but since he's been gone, it's like he honestly. I think the stuff of late, even though they were kind of
It's short-lived.
making him lose everything, you know, like his little bit with Roman Reigns was awesome. So his promos,
Oh yeah.
the match might not have been the greatest. It was a good match, but those promos, I mean, that's like the best work I've seen Cena do in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and Matt, I'm sure you're going to agree with me on this because I think I already know what you're going to say. I, for one, I don't think you'll ever see John Cena go back to the Thugonomics thing. I think that's a given.
Oh no,
but,
they've said that.
You know, my whole thing with Cena is that I would love to see him ingrained in a storyline where you had someone that could keep up with him to some degree lyrically, like, you know, on the mic or anything like that, because, dude,
As a rapper,
Uso.
no, not even in that sense, but I mean, if you really sat and look at some of his interviews, if we're talking about guys who are good and quick-witted with comebacks and that kind of shit,
you mean like
Yeah.
The Rock?
John Cena would fuck you up. But with that being said, I'm getting told that we're almost out of time, so one more time, tell the people about your fight October 13th, and Knockouts and 3 Counts will be there real soon.
I got you. Okay, guys. So the show is October 13th, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. at the Deltaplex in Grand Rapids. Show starts at 7. Doors open at 6. Tickets start at $35. You can go on to etix.com, search Lights Out Championship. 16 total fights. I believe it's 8 pro, 8 amateur. The card's stacked. I'm looking forward to getting this new promotion kicked off. And come check us out.
Hey, Matt, I think you have a good conversation with the wife after you get off the show.
I was about to say, on the Facebook page, a young lady by the name of Ashley Friendo says, tell Matt Friendo I want a divorce for throwing a show 2 weeks after our wedding.
Heard here on Knockouts and 3 Counts first.
He had his priorities in order.
He's definitely not happy about it.
You know this means you're going to have to go out on the honeymoon or you're fucked. Right?
Oh, man, that's going to be one hell of a honeymoon, man. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'll make up for it.
You have to go back to the jewelry shop and upgrade that ring too, brother. But
yeah, for real.
Kobe style.
Oh, and by the way, Damian Longoria on Facebook says that O'Malley was dietary supplements.
Okay, good. At least it wasn't weed, but I was sure it was going to be weed. Good thing I didn't shake on that.
But
Google
right.
that shit and shake your hand.
But let's go ahead and everybody give their social medias. Mr. Campbell, we'll start with you since you didn't do your intro.
Find me on Twitter. I'm gonna tweet one of these days. And Instagram at Team Chaos. Facebook Kyle J Campbell. And next week I'll have the name of another show I'm gonna be doing. It's gonna be basically a recap of the entire DC Arrowverse lineup. Show will be coming out next Wednesday. I'll have the name for probably next Tuesday.
All right, Mr. Collison.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Detroit Knockout, Detroit Knockout. Follow me on Facebook, Kyle Collison, and on Facebook. Also, follow the show page. Make sure you share the fuck out of what you're watching right now.
Share the
Knockouts and 3 Counts podcast.
Share the fuck out of it. That's an official.
Hell yeah, it is.
Mr. Friendo, you got social media you want to put out there, and one last plug for the show.
Yeah. You can find me on Facebook at Matt Friendo. The promotions page is Lights Out Championship. We are on Instagram as well, Lights Out Fights. Twitter's getting up right now. Website's getting made right now. There's an app for our phones being made right now. All kinds of cool shit. So stay up to date with us. Follow us when you can. Keep your eyes open. We got some good stuff happening. And October 13th is just the start. So.
All right.
Yeah.
And you can find me on Twitter at Devin63. That's DEVINTHE63. You can find me on Instagram at All Steak No Sizzle. That's one word. Make sure you check out the Reality Era News page on Facebook where we talk wrestling. If you're looking for a car, check out SouthfieldQualityCars.com. Once you find your vehicle and you make that purchase of your Jeep Trailhawk, go in and use the reference code 19309 and you'll receive $500 off on your purchase. Hey, Matt, real quick, you want to shout out any sponsors before we get out of here?
I have so many of them. Shout out to Tracy Steele with Steely Tees. Shout out to Izzy Quintanilla with Reliable Sport. I hope I said your last name right. I probably didn't. He's going to kick my ass.
17th.
Shout out to Diesel Freaks. Shout out to Hydro Warfare, Alpine Pennzoil. I could go on for days. I've got 20 other ones. I'll forget, but I'll tag them in my posts after this. So,
and also make sure October 27th you're in the building when Knockouts and 3 Counts is live again from BCWA at the Copeland Center in Wyandotte, Michigan. And if you're not, fuck your couch.
And fuck your left seat.
That too.
All right, with all that said, thank you all for watching and listening
That's watching too. Hi, people.
to Knockouts and 3 Counts. Matt, thank you once again. Till next time.
Yeah.
Peace.
Fuck your couch.
see you guys.
All right, peace.
Thanks for coming.